Hi, more than 25 million people are healing from their illnesses all across the Middle East. Morocco, Egypt, Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, name it. More than 20 countries in the Middle East. But you will not hear about it for two reasons. First, those are mostly military regimes and they don't want the protocol that the Egyptian ICU professor, consultant, and doctor gave people for free over the internet, and people have been following it for years. The second reason is that most Arabs don't speak English. I have followed the protocol for 16 days now. I have fibromyalgia, sciatica, carpal tunnel syndrome, hyperplasia, both endometrial and in the spine. I also have nerve pain, migraines. I have many more illnesses that I'm not going to get into all of them, but there are about 28 diagnosed illnesses. I'm not selling you anything, and I'm going to tell you the whole protocol for free, just like he did. And to tell you more about him, I'm going to tell you more about him in the end. He's dead now. He's not with us. There is no gain absolutely for him, except maybe if you will say a prayer. May his soul rest in peace. The protocol is very simple. Through his studies, because he also have a master's degree in clinical nutrition. There is a difference between general nutrition, sports nutrition, and clinical nutrition. Clinical nutrition means that the nutrition or the food is specifically about disease, not about calories, not about protein versus good fat. It's all about disease and how to help either improve it or cure it. Yes, cure it. Not everything is going to be cured on this protocol. Not all illnesses are going to 100% benefit. You're going to have to be your own doctor, see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. However, there are few foods you have to absolutely ban from your daily food. First things is fizzy drinks, sodas, colas, energy drinks, all that will go out. So this is the first one. The second one is eggs. Why eggs? Because maybe they are good for you if you're in the gym, maybe they're good for you if you're watching nutrition, but if you have an illness, eggs create inflammation in the body and they create symptoms of leaky gut in your colon. So all the organs around your colon, like your sciatic nerve, your kidneys, ovaries, your bladder with the prostate close to your bladder, your womb, many more organs, all of them will be affected by what will come out of your colon in leaky gut and cause inflammation in the area, cause pain in the area, and sometimes also cause fibrosis in the area. Fibrosis is when you get painful spots around your organs, and those might create some types of tumors. Okay, the scientific studies on eggs are available. If you have any question, put it in my video and I will send you the scientific studies that say that eggs are bad for you. There are many. There are also scientific studies that say eggs are good for you, but they're not related to health. They're related to nutrition. We're not here talking about nutrition. We're talking about clinical nutrition, which means food to fight disease, not food for general well-being. This is for people who are sick. The third thing you are going to ban is chicken, any kind of chicken, and poultry. So ducks and other things that are classified as poultry, you will also stop them and you will eat regular meat, red meat instead. Why chicken? Because chicken are injected with hormones. They are very high on bacteria like salmonella, escatol, many other types of bacteria, and they're also injected with other things. The broiler chicken that we buy, this is the name of the species. This species is not really fit for human consumption. From an early age, the baby chicken, the tiny one, is given growth hormones, is given antibiotics. Here in the UK, before they put them out there in the market, they have to wait a few days for the antibiotics to leave the body, but they can't stop the bacteria to leave the body of the chicken. Even when you cook the chicken, people know that bacteria will die if you cook the chicken very well, but we don't know that these bacteria, they already release toxins, waste. Basically, they poop. Yes, bacteria is a living organism. They poop. It's excrement, defecation, or in scientific terms, they release toxins when they die. So you kill the bacteria, but the toxins in the flesh or the meat of the chicken, you're still eating it. The scientific research, clinical research, that the chicken is not good for you when you are sick, and they cause inflammatory pathways in the body, more than 7 inflammatory pathways. They can cause you problems with your sleep, cause you pain, cause you leaky gut, cause you inflammation, cause you joint pain, cause you migraines, cause you problems while you're sleeping, cause you problems with urination. You go to the toilet too much, especially when you're trying to sleep, you wake up to go to the toilet. The research is out there, and I'm going to make another video about those inflammation pathways, and this is scientific evidence from eggs, from chicken, and from all the other things you will need to ban from your diet. Just remove it from your diet. But I don't want this video to be too long until you get bored. Okay, what is the third thing you're going to ban? You're going to ban white flour. All white flour, be it pasta, white bread, the bread that they call 50-50, anything with wheat flour in it. But you will allow whole meal flour without any other flour added to it. Okay? Also, this is included if you have the word wheat in your mayonnaise, the word wheat in your ketchup, the word wheat in, of course, most cakes are made of wheat anyway. So cakes, biscuits, all these things that are made with eggs, foods that are made with flour. What else are you gonna ban? You're going to ban dairy. Most dairy, because butter is allowed, real butter is allowed, real ghee is allowed, hard cheese like mature cheddar or mild cheddar. Read the ingredients if it says flour or it says wheat, because some cheap cheddar and some cheap cheese are made with flour. Read the ingredients. So mature cheddar is allowed, mature Stilton, mature Leicester, all the hard cheeses where the casein from the milk has been, sorry, not the casein, the lactose from the milk has been removed. All Italian cheese like Parmesan, Parmigiano Reggiano, Grana Padano, Pecorino Reno, all the mature cheese like Stilton, Danish Blue, Roquefort, all these cheeses are allowed. Mozzarella is a yes and no, because cheap mozzarella is made with more milk, is not processed very well, and some types of mozzarella add wheat to them. So because you're healing, avoid mozzarella. So pizza, you're not allowed pizza unless you make it at home and you make it from something that doesn't contain wheat flour and it doesn't contain anything from what I mentioned before. You can make your own pizza base with whole meal flour, sourdough, and you ferment it yourself at home, and you knead it and you make it. It's gonna be so easy. So you can make your own pizza, and instead of adding mozzarella, or if you can find a very good mozzarella that you're absolutely sure it's completely made the right way, you can go ahead and make your own pizza from foods that are allowed. Okay, Of course, if you're allergic or sensitive to dairy, then you're going to ban all dairy. Any food that I say ban it, you're gonna have to ban it. Any food that I say it is allowed, if you know that it hurts you, don't eat it. It becomes automatically banned for you. The next thing you are going to ban, which is going to surprise you, are fibrous vegetables. Vegetables that have fibers in them. Everybody knows that from nutrition and health aspect, fiber is good for you, and the British government is telling us to eat 5 a day of fruits and vegetables. But fibers are hard to digest. So if your colon is irritated, even if you don't know about it, if your colon is irritated, if you have symptoms like headaches, dizziness, general pain, burning feeling, pins and needles, joint pain, back pain, sleep problems, night urination, and other illnesses related to your joints and bones, chances are you either have acid reflux, you have problems with your stomach, and if you have acid reflux or problems with your stomach, 100% you have colon problems, whether you have symptoms or not. In such a case, fibers from fruits and vegetables are going to sit in your colon, irritate your colon even more, cause fermentation in your colon, and the fermentation is going to hurt good bacteria and is going to increase bad bacteria, and it's also going to cause leaky gut. Leaky gut is going to happen where the bad bacteria is going to travel out of your colon and leave your colon and go into either your bloodstream eventually, or go cause inflammation in the organs very close to your colon. As I said, this can be your kidneys, your sciatic nerve, your pelvic floor, your bladder, and from the bladder to the prostate. Some women, if you let pee out when you cough or sneeze or laugh, you probably have either pelvic floor dysfunction, something wrong with the bladder muscle, or bladder inflammation and sensitivity. So give it a shot. We are allowed some fruits and vegetables that are very easy and soft on your belly. The whole idea is to eat easily digested food that's gonna go easy in your system and leave your system quickly and easily. So if you have bad absorption, if you have weak stomach acid, all that is going to fix yourself themselves, and you're going to see results on this. I shouldn't call it diet, because diets don't work. It should be called a protocol, but just because the word diet is easy, and I'm probably gonna be watched in this video by so many people whose first language is not English, so we will just call it a diet. But it is not a diet. It's an elimination protocol for healing or curing or improving your condition. So what are we going to do? We're going to eat those easy foods and see results in 3 days. Just 3 days. On day 4, you will see a result. And this is how you know this protocol is not a hoax, because most protocols say you will find the results in 3 months, in 6 months, by which time you spent a lot of money. If you don't get a result on day 4, you either didn't do it right, or something in your food had some ingredients that are still not good for you, and the ICU consultant created it to get you very quick results, because in the ICU people are critical, on the brink of death. They don't have 3 months to get results. Okay, so what are the foods you are going to eat? Did I forget anything from the foods you are banned? No, that's about it. Eggs, chicken, most dairy, white flour in all its forms, including pasta, noodles, and whatnot, and fibrous vegetables. I'm gonna make it even easier for you. I'm going to tell you what vegetables and fruits you're allowed to eat and how you're allowed to eat. The most important thing, before I tell you what fruits and vegetables you're allowed to eat, I should tell you how you eat, because how you eat is more important than what you eat. You eat only when you're hungry. You don't eat 6 a day that came from the bodybuilding industry. You don't eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner that came from the days when people were laborers and factory workers and had to eat 3 diligent meals for them to work long shifts. You eat when you're hungry, the way our bodies were meant to be. When you're hungry, you're going to eat. And when you eat, you don't fill your tummy to the point that your stomach acid starts to go back up your esophagus, and then you start to feel the symptoms of heartburn. So you eat what they used to call back in the day half belly, and you leave room for the liquid in your food to rise up, and there is naturally air when you swallow that goes inside your stomach. So you have to leave room for the air and room for the liquid, because your stomach, as it keeps working like this, it needs a space for the acid in your stomach not to jump back up in your esophagus and ruin your teeth and cause you problems. So, second thing, you will need to fast 16 hours a day. The easiest way to do that is to end your last meal, say, for example, at 8 p.m. and then your first meal at 12 p.m. Very easy. The original protocol by the ICU consultant said that you should fast for 16 hours from waking up. But so many people can't do that. So the second best choice is to start from 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or whatever your last meal, depending on your work shifts or your lifestyle. Your sleep hours are included, and then you eat when you're hungry. You don't have to drink 2 liters of water because maybe you had soup, maybe you had juice. Why do you still have to drink 2 liters of waters on top of that? What if you're a big person in a hot country? What if you're a petite in a cold country? So what do? You monitor the color of your urine. The color of your urine should never be dark yellow. It should be light yellow, but it should not be so light that it's almost transparent, for you not to lose your electrolytes or the minerals in your body, for them not to come out in your wee. So make your urine, or the color of your urine, your guide. Or if you are not sure, or this is not doable because of the circumstances of where you live, drink when you're thirsty. If you have nervous system problems and you don't get thirsty like I do, drink water in moderation. Don't just keep chugging it down. And again, try to keep the color of your urine as your guide. Okay. The second thing in how you eat is you have to chew your food very, very well. The jaw is the strongest muscle in our entire body. Why? Because it is the muscle that has to work very hard to make all your food soft on your stomach when it comes to your stomach. So for you to chew your food very well, don't wait until you are too hungry, then you're crazy for the food. When you get the hunger signal, start eating your reasonable portions. Don't fill your belly. Chew your food very well until it's almost like jam with bits, and you swallow it. And if you do that, your brain there are sensors in your mouth, on your palate. Your palate is the part of your mouth at the top of your mouth, above your tongue, and there are sensors in your entire mouth that tell your brain the food is ready to be swallowed. As you keep chewing, you'll find you're just automatically swallowing. You don't have to, you will have the natural reflex to swallow. You might need some training to do that, but until you get there, swallow very well, because the job of your stomach is not to mince your food. The job of your stomach is to act as a blender that will blend your food in every direction with your stomach acid. So if you swallow a whole piece of meat after you chewed it just a couple of times, you're damaging your stomach lining, you're causing yourself problems. And don't drink any drinks except some juice with your food if you have to, or if you have some soups, even better. Keep your food simple, don't mix the foods. So let's get to another technique of fasting that might be very useful for you if your illness is severely bad, or if you have more than one illness, or if your pain is over the top, too much pain. You can fast day in, day out, or you can fast twice a week. And after fasting twice a week, this other than the 16-hour fast, you can fast for 36 hours, which is the toughest one. It's really tough. You fast for 36 hours on something you don't chew, meaning juice, clear soups, and water. On these 3 days, try not to exert yourself, keep yourself safe, and make sure you don't have any medical conditions that are going to affect you negatively, especially if you take medications that are regulated at particular hours. Okay, now we are done with everything you need to know. The last thing is how to do the protocol, and the foods are allowed on the protocol. For the first 3 days, which are the 3 days required for your entire system to activate. Your immune system, part of it is in your gut, and the second part, which is the stronger, like you have the soldiers in your gut, and then you have the generals in your lymphatic system. And it takes 3 days for the two of them to activate. Unless you're making a mistake with the protocol, it may take up to 9 days. So for the first 3 days, you will eat rice, any rice, potatoes, any potatoes, but preferably you will get real potatoes and you will cook them at home. You wash them when they are not peeled. You don't wash them after you peel them and chop them up, because you have potassium, vitamin C, and soluble fiber in the potatoes. You don't want them to go in your water and lose this water. If you're going to boil them to mash them, keep the water to add it to another food you're cooking. Or boil with very little water and keep that in your mash to make it even creamier. So the first 3 days you're going to eat rice, potatoes, cold pressed olive oil. You can find it anywhere, from Tesco, from anywhere. Some bottles have the word cold pressed either at the front or at the back. When you get the cold pressed olive oil, make sure it's in a glass bottle and the bottle is dark. Otherwise, the olive oil will absorb all the toxins and all the plastic stuff from the plastic. Olive oil has many jobs. One of them is anti-inflammation, one of them is anti-tumors, one of them is antibacterial, and it absorbs toxins or poison or bad stuff from your gut. So if you store it in plastic, it will absorb all the bad stuff from the plastic too. So make sure that you get your cold pressed olive oil from in a glass bottle, and the word cold pressed is written either on the front of the bottle, or sometimes some brands write it at the back of the bottle or in the description itself of what it contains. The more money you spend on olive oil, the better, but buy what you can afford. This protocol is very easy, and the doctor specifically designed it for people who can't afford expensive foods. These were his last words. I designed this for humanity, regardless of their financial income. So, on the first 3 days, rice, potatoes, cold pressed olive oil, and 2 spoons of vinegar, any vinegar. Grape vinegar is best. Second best is apple cider. The third best is any vinegar. Just 2 spoons. You add them to your foods. Don't just take them like that for you not to irritate your stomach lining. You can add the vinegar to the olive oil. The olive oil should not be heated. It's cold pressed. In other words, it's raw, and you should take it in that form. If you can't stomach the taste, you can add a little bit of vinegar, a tiny dash of salt, and use it as a dip. The last item on the 3 days are a bunch of dates. and that's it. For 3 days, rice, potatoes, cold pressed olive oil, 2 spoons of vinegar, and when you crave something sweet, a bunch of dates. That is it. It is this simple, this easy, this cheap. If you're a big eater, like I was, don't care about your meal sizes as long as you don't fill your belly every time and you're hungry. Eat again. In 3 days, you will still see results. If you didn't hear it, you don't eat it. If you didn't hear it, you don't eat it. I'm talking about the first 3 days. There is more you can add after the 3 days. I know in the West, everybody is drinking tea and coffee, milk and milk and milk. Unfortunately, there is no way around it. You will not be able to have milk for the first 3 days. Don't even go and look for alternatives, because those are your major healing days. Is coffee and tea allowed? Decaf in moderation? And the general answer is no, but the doctor said, well, if you're really desperate, take a few sips. Sugar is allowed on this diet up to 16 grams. 16 grams is 4 cubes of sugar, or anything of the same size if you don't use the cubes in your country. And be watchful that decaf tea and decaf coffee will cause you sleep problems if you do have sleep problems. And if you don't drink them, even better. I stopped drinking them altogether, even though I used to love them. If you can swap tea and coffee to decaf green tea, go for it. The reason is that tea will cause pigmentation in your gut lining, which compromises your mucous membrane. Decaf green tea doesn't do any of that, or even better, if you can, if it's available in your country, after the 3 days, you can have olive leaf tea, the tea of the leaves of the olive trees. If you can find it organic, get it. If you can't find it organic, well, if you've been drinking tea that is not organic, swap to olive leaf tea or olive tea. But you don't have to. It's not essential on the protocol. You don't have to. All you have to buy is cold pressed olive oil, dates, rice and potatoes, and vinegar. That's all. This is all to it. After the 3 days, you can add the allowed food. The allowed food are the hard cheese I explained. Not a must. If you tolerate them, if you like them, or you can add liver from any animal except poultry and chicken if you can tolerate it. Remove the skin. The spices allowed are only salt and vinegar. You're not allowed any other spices for at least 2 months for you to know how your system works, what aggravates you, what hurts you. So no spices are allowed. Just a little bit of ketchup is allowed if the ketchup doesn't have wheat, if tomatoes doesn't cause you any allergies. In moderation after the 3 days. Make sure you read the ingredients. If it hurts you, it's not the protocol, it's what you added. If your country doesn't have ingredients added on the back of the container. The other foods that are allowed are oily fish, marine fish. Avoid farm fish unless you're sure you live in a country where there are no toxins and no antibiotics and no pesticides added to the fish. And yes, they spray fish with pesticides in many countries because farm fish gets sick and it needs a vet, a specialized vet, to look after the fish. So if you can afford to get wild fish and marine fish, do it. If you can't afford it, you have sardines, mackerels, anchovies, more and more marine fish. Tinned is all allowed. It's great for your calcium because the tiny little bones are mashed up inside the tin. So that's a great source of calcium, especially if you can't tolerate dairy from the hard cheese. Shellfish was not allowed in many countries where there are contamination in Asia, Africa, in the Middle East, some countries in Latin America. If you live in a country where you can guarantee that the farmed prawns, of course the crab is not farmed, you can tolerate all that in your country where there is no pesticides, etc., etc. I have tried shellfish in the UK. I'm not allergic to shellfish and they were fine. Make sure when you cook any food, cook it in a way that makes the food soft and tender, chew it very well. When it gets into your stomach, it becomes very easy and very well chewed, and it's easy on your stomach. Okay, the next thing that is allowed is lamb meat and beef and any cut of wild game, birds included. If you hunt, good for you, lucky you, eat it, provided you're hunting wild animals and wild birds. These meats are allowed. You're allowed meat once a week or twice a week. If your condition is severe like mine, avoid meat for the first 2 to 3 weeks. I have tried meat on day 16. It made me very, very sick. So I am postponing eating meat for at least 1 more month. Don't eat the same thing twice in the same day. Don't eat anything twice in a row. And I advise you to keep notes somewhere on your phone, what you've eaten and how you're feeling. So if next week you feel the same symptoms again, you can go back to this diary and see what you ate on that day, that you ate yesterday or today, and you can compare, especially that some symptoms take up to 3 days to show themselves. Those symptoms can be headaches, dizziness, nausea, nerve pain, an inability to control your urine when you're coughing, back pain, sciatic pain, tingling, pins and needles, many symptoms. Some of them are symptoms that people don't link to food, like knee pain. Did you know that knee pain can be triggered by food? You didn't know that. Well, the professor knew that. I have tried it. The pain inside my knees that was with me for 30 years is down by 80%. Something I didn't even expect. Okay, what are the other foods that are allowed? From vegetables, you can eat potatoes or sweet potatoes or taro. Baked, steamed, keep your foods simple. You can add butter or ghee and keep it simple. Those are all the vegetables you're allowed. Why? Because most other vegetables contain fiber. Mushrooms are also allowed. If anything upsets you, stop it. It becomes not allowed for you. Remove it. But from the list of foods that are not allowed, you can't try those. If you try those, you are no longer on this protocol. If you try anything from the banned foods, don't say the protocol didn't work because you are not on it. Okay, any other vegetables that are allowed? Yes, but not the first month. And don't worry, vitamin C gets stored in the body for 3 months. You're not going to get vitamin C deficiencies, especially that some fruits are allowed anyway, and I'm gonna get to it. And don't worry, you're not gonna miss your calcium because the tinned fish have lots and lots of available calcium to your body, even better than dairy. And there is something called the calcium paradox. When you don't stop taking calcium for a few days, your body doesn't get affected. Your body starts to take calcium from dead organisms around your body first. And think about it. If you don't take calcium because you went on a safari or you went on a vacation, people at war, people who live in deserts, where do they get their calcium? Science tells you there's something called the calcium paradox. They don't understand why countries that don't eat any dairy at all, their calcium is better than people living in the West. Then they called it the calcium paradox. And I'm going to have another video for the scientific explanation why, because I don't want this to get too complicated for you and too long than it already is. Now we're going to get to fruits. What are the fruits that are allowed? And again, if you're allergic to something, don't allow it. Plums, but peel them. We don't want the tough skin to irritate your colon. Peaches, also peel them. Why? Because we don't want the tough fiber to irritate your colon. And on that note, I forgot to tell you that you will not eat the skin of the potatoes. You will not eat the skin of the sweet potatoes. Again, we don't want the fiber. It's good for healthy people. For people who are sick and are showing symptoms, the fiber will ferment in your gut and cause an imbalance in the bacteria. Do not be afraid of that. I've tried it. I used to live on vegetables. I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I resisted at first, then I tried the protocol, and it works like magic. 3 days, on the 4th day, you will see results. So, back to the rest of the fruits. Bananas, but you limit it to only 1 in a week or 2 in a week. You can also have grapes. Red grapes are best without seeds. If you can't find red grapes, any grapes. You're also allowed figs. And all the fruits I mentioned, you can have them either in the form of juice or in the form of dry fruits or toasted fruits or added to other foods. It doesn't matter. You can have them in any form. Other fruits you can try with caution is kiwi, because kiwi triggers allergic reactions in some people. And make sure when you eat any of these fruits, get the ripe ones. Don't get the ones that are unripe that are going to cause you problems with your stomach lining. You can have apples, 1 large apple. Don't eat apples twice a day or anything. Don't eat anything on this protocol twice a day or on the same day. So apples, but peel them. Pears, any pears, but also peel them. What else is allowed? Berries, if you're not allergic to them. Strawberries, but strawberries are gonna be the only one you're gonna buy organic. And that is the entire protocol. After 1 month on the protocol, you can experiment with a list of very few vegetables that are known to be soft and easy on your gut. Bottle gourd, known in the UK among the Asian population as dowdy, but that will need a lot of cooking. And just for the record, it's the only plant on earth that has never been modified by humans, and it doesn't need pesticides because it just does not get hit by illnesses, viruses, and pests. It's also known as the Jonah tree. The other one is squash. Any kind of squash, scoop the flesh out, peel it, remove the seeds. Some people say pumpkin seeds are good for you, that's when you're healthy. We're talking about someone whose gut is compromised and is healing. Try with that. If it upsets you, don't try it again. Okra, if you like okra. Bell pepper, the red one, but remove the skin. The easiest way to remove the skin is to roast it and then remove the skin and take the flesh without the seeds. Again, if anything upsets you, remove it. You can try with a tomato. Organic is best. And the reason why I'm saying organic tomatoes and organic strawberries, these 2 crops are the worst pesticides in the world. Aim for an organic one. If you want to use a fresh tomato, remove the skin and remove the seeds. And tomatoes are known to cause irritation in people. If you can avoid, it's best to avoid. The other vegetables you can try, I think I said okra. You can try aubergine, but it's not really advisable. But if you really like it, you can peel it. But watch out that it causes anemia in some people because it stops the absorption of iron, even though it contains iron itself. And that is that. After 2 months or 3 months, depending on how severe your illness is, you can start experimenting once a week with something from the vegetables or the fruits and see if it will set you off. And again, don't do that more than once every 3 days for you to wait for any symptoms that are going to set you off. Whatever you've heard, you can use it as powder. So rice flour is fine, rice paper is fine, rice noodles are fine. If you didn't hear it, you don't use it. Legumes, vegetables, onions, fibrous vegetables, onions, garlic, herbs, spices, all that on the protocol are banned. Dairy is banned, white flour is banned, eggs and chicken are banned. There is a question among people, but how am I gonna eat fish without all my spices and blends and stuff like that? This is something I've tried. Marinate it, then rinse it under running water. Marinate it for as long as you want, then rinse it under running water for you to get the flavor without anything else on it. Then cook it. Make sure you don't use the cold-pressed olive oil to cook. Any other oil is fine, but I would advise you from personal experience not to use sesame oil and try to use a cheaper form of olive oil. If you're really, really sick, don't fry, because frying in general is not really that good for people who have advanced disease. That's it. You're gonna have control. You're gonna see results on day 4. And if you do it by the book, you're gonna see another result around the day 9 or 15 or 16. And your results will continue to show as long as you stick with the protocol. And I will repeat, this protocol has been used by 25 million people who came to testify after his death that he has done them a great favor and changed their lives. It was an ongoing online funeral. Everybody testifying for him. So if you imagine 25 million people came online in countries where many people in the population don't even have internet, how many people would be using it and healing? Maybe double this number. I'm not going to tell you the doctor's name because he had a huge smear campaign against him. He received death threats. Then he went missing for a week. Then he was found dead in his hotel room on the 19th of April. His body was exhumed twice because his last alive that came out of his hotel room, he said to people, I am doing this for you. I'm receiving death threats. If you find me dead, know that someone killed me. I don't commit suicide. And I am not going to die suddenly because I fast all the time. I can't just die suddenly when my blood test results showed that everything is perfect. On the same day, he disappeared for a week. His family couldn't reach him, even though he had a business to run and he had lectures to give. For a week, nobody could find him. Then he found him dead in his room, and the forensic records say that he died of a heart attack because he was a smoker, and they ignored the fact that his body was full of bruises. A whistleblower in the morgue contacted his family and told them that his body was full of bruises. There is a smear campaign against him where the government of his country of birth, Egypt, completely destroyed his reputation and struck him off the medical records because he gave people this information for free. And so many millions no longer needed medications. You do the math. I'm not going to get into any conspiracy theories. He's dead now. Give it a try. You got nothing to lose. 3 days, rice, potatoes, cold pressed olive oil, some dates, some vinegar. And by the way, many of my friends have tried it and they're shocked by the results. What have you got to lose? You're gonna spend like a tenner, and after 3 days, come back and call me a liar. Have fun and look after yourself. Bye bye.